Okay, guys, I want to make a, a little video about trying to fix things yourself. I built this old wooden plow. Made out of scrap from the dump. This is about the, I don't know, maybe 6th, 7th plow I built like this, experimenting over time. This thing just goes on in a minute. You just put this, these ropes, slip them over the edge of the bumper, lift it up, put it, just settle it, ropes over there. Got a wire I put inside the hood. I had to take the grill out for the winter to do that. But the wire just stays in there. There's a winch underneath here, and it just goes up, hooks on there. You can find it in my videos. But the thing is, that truck, it's an '08, and with the 5.4 engine in them, and they build things now, or even back then, with so crazy. How do you fix it? How do you figure out what the heck's wrong? We got a little what do you call them, little analyzer, plugged it in, and it calls the codes up and stuff like this. But lots of times the codes don't mean nothing. They don't mean nothing. The truck was starting to get a little bit of a stumble, missing it over a while. Then it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse. And then, I changed the plugs. And the plugs are made in those things. In the original plugs, they were a 2-piece plug. They were a long plug that went way down inside the engine, and you had to get them out, but they'd break off inside the head lots of times, So I was worried about that, and it was missing and running funny. So sometimes it would be okay, sometimes it wouldn't be okay. It was, running fast, slow, and sometimes it would come up and stall. Blah, 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 blah. And so I started looking, and then there's a throttle, air idle control valve that's right on your throttle body. And my friend, so-called friend, that I got the truck off of, I figured I'd pick up a truck. I own a truck. And at the time, it was just when COVID was sort of ending. You couldn't find a truck out there. There was nothing to buy. And you're paying fortunes and fortunes for it. So anyway, I says to my friend Bill, you want to sell the truck? He says, yeah, I want to sell it. I says, well, why do you want to sell it? He says, just because I don't like these engines in the truck. Okay. Apparently, he had a lot of trouble with the truck. He had it into a place, spent lots of money on it. And I don't know what he'd done. But anyway, they diagnosed it to, apparently, that I didn't know this. He didn't tell me, cam phaser problems. They got this cam phasers in there that run on hydraulic adjustments, and they, instead of putting O-rings, they put gaskets or something, and the gaskets break down, and then they fail. And you start to get things where it's stalling and stuff. So he thought it was that. That's what he assumed it was, but he didn't tell me that. That's a big job to change the cam phasers in that thing. Massive job, and expensive. So anyway, then I started looking at, all of a sudden I'm coming up and it's running good, and all of a sudden they go stalling, blah, 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 blah. And then I looked at it's called air idle control valve. Lets so much idle in it, so much air in it idle, so that, and so it keeps running. Anyway, so I heard about that. So anyway, I just gets out and I taps on this module there. It straightens out fairly well. And then later on, it started running bad again, and it started overheating. It was overheating and overheating like a pig. And here's something to watch for, you guys. I changed thermostat. Thought maybe the thermostat was screwed up. Oh, no. Then I thought, well, maybe I got a bad thermostat. So I went and bought another thermostat, put that in. No. So I thought, what the heck else? So I flushed the rad, checked for anything being plugged, nothing plugged. So I changed the water pump. Another big job, expensive. And on those trucks, same year, same everything, they put 2 different types of water pumps. 2 different parts on the same truck. Same year, everything, model, engine. different parts. So anyway, I changed that. Still overheating, 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 overheating. Finally, I says, you know what? There's nothing plugged here. Even the pump I took out was fine, but I put a new one in anyway. I looked up underneath the fan shroud. The rod, you could see through it. There was a clump of dirt, like a clump of built up crap that was in the center, right at the top. You couldn't even see it. So I thought, what the heck? I guess it was causing cavitation, and it was stopping the air from pulling from the outside. It was just going around circles in there. Watch that. So anyway, I just blew it out with air. Overheating problem. But it got so hot, it was overheating. It was actually stalling out. It wouldn't run. It was getting so hot. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it did damage. That was a year and a half ago, I guess. You know, summer before last, this was giving me a lot of trouble. So much trouble with this truck. And then another thing he did not tell me, when I went through safety, to get safety check on it, I had to, there's a fuse, a relay in the fuse panel under the kick panel on the passenger side. And there is a couple of relays in there that are not changeable. They are part of the board. Now, put relays in something that you can't change? Like, really? And to get them, the brake, I had to have reverse lights. And first thing when our boy put our module on there, a little tester on there, it called for electronic part. And it actually estimated the part out, and they change out on this thing at $700. So evidently he put this analyzer on it and showed. And with that one relay buggered up in there, the interior lights flashing on and off and on and off and on and off, you know, and the cargo light at the back sometimes go on, go off, go on and off. So I says, you know what? I'm not changing it for that. But then I found out that one relay in there was for the reverse lights and the trailer lights. Now, how the hell what do you do? You're going to spend $700 or whatever it costs to buy this new part just to get reverse lights? So I had to makeshift a way in the column, make a switch that would go on without and rewire it all back to the taillights and everything, you know, to get through safety. And to get through safety, he called all kinds of stuff. I had to change a caliper. He pulled a bunch of stuff anyway. Some real minor stuff. But that's the way safeties are. And this was before they come in with the real heavy regulation. Now they have to video record everything take pictures on a tablet while somebody else views this at someplace else when they're doing the safety check, and they can call the safety just because what they can see. So it's crazy. But anyway, this truck would give me a lot of trouble. And so I changed the plugs, and like I say, it seemed to help. Then I ordered coils. I thought maybe the coils are bad. So, you know, I changed them, and it seemed to help a little bit, and then not. So I was out there in the summertime here, and there's looks like a fuel pressure regulator on the fuel rail. I went and tapped on that a little bit. All of a sudden the thing, boom, 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 it's running even worse. So I thought, oh man, it must be injectors are plugged. So I put more injector cleaner in there. And then it wasn't helping, losing power more and more. I wasn't even taking it onto the road anymore because it was losing power. And then about a week or so ago, I was running in the yard because I use it for plowing. There was no snow, but I ran it around and it was less power and less power and less power. And all of a sudden I went to I shut it off, then I went to start it and it went boom, 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 then it stopped. So I thought, well, what else can it be? It wasn't that regulator. So I thought maybe there's a fuel control module on the back of the truck, up on the cross member up under the tire. And they said that can cause that problem too. There's so many things that cause problems. Right from, see, and this thing, I took this out. No, it doesn't even look too bad. And it put a new one in, buy a new one, nothing. You know, it's just on and on and on. Now this thing, instead of having the fuel pressure regulated at the fuel rail by this little thing regulating the pump, that is a sensor in there that tells the computer how much the thing works, and then it sends a signal to this thing at the back of the thing, and it regulates the pressure the pump is putting out. It puts the voltage difference, I guess, on the pump. The idea is to save the pump, maybe? I don't know. There's just so many things, and now I couldn't figure it out. Now, what was I going to go? Buy new injectors? You know, I didn't put injectors in yet. I thought, well, it can't be really just injectors. It stopped. So the other day, after we put this in and put all these parts in over this time, and, you know, I was having trouble with brakes overheating in the thing all the time in the summertime, and the caliper sticking, and changing parts and parts and parts and parts, and it's an old truck, junky. So anyway, yesterday, I says, we're going to try something. So I took out the air cleaner, and I got an old water bottle. I filled it up with gas, poked a little pinhole in the thing, and I shot it into the intake, where the air intake goes into your throttle body. Poured some in there, turned the key, boom, and run real good till I got that gas out of there. You know, well, that's the pump. So now I ordered a pump. You know, it's just one thing after the next on this old truck. And I bought it. I paid too much money for it. It was rusted all to crap when I had to do body work on it, and you know, well, I dented up and bashed up, and but it's the way it is. So I'll save this part, and I got that other little part too that goes on the fuel rail. Ordering parts. You know what? But if you don't, you know what? I like to support local, but if I'm going to go to the parts store and I'm going to buy this in town, I checked it out, $140 plus tax. You know. Now if I order it online, come right to the mailbox for $44. You know. So I mean that would have been I would have been out $100 or more, probably $125 with extra, and that wasn't the part. Same with that little thing on the fuel rail. Expensive here. Buy it online. You know what? Yeah, I'd like to support the local people, but how do you do that? You only have so much money. So I bought this springtime I bought an old 98 Toyota Corolla. Hey, seemed in pretty good shape. Had a little bit of rust. Ran okay. You know, I paid $300 for it. So I fought to get that thing fixed up a little bit and through safety, and it's a darn good thing because the truck's down now and her van is leaking antifreeze. You know, so you have to have vehicles when you live in the bush. So anyway, I'm going to put a little link after in the videos. If you it may be in there now. I'm going to put, if you want to buy me a coffee or something like that, if I helped you in any way, maybe remedy some of these things, you know. But, and there's under the hood, and they have a cam position sensors. And if one of those cam position sensors goes bad, it shuts the the power off to the engine because it's out of sync. The computer picks that up, stops. So many crazy things they got in the vehicles. But first of all, do yourself a favor. If you're working on these things and it's not running right or something, or it stalls, it dies, check, dump some gas down the throttle body and see if it runs. You know, check that first. This pump in the tank, in the trunk, I could hear it running just because it stops. But there's no fuel there's no fuel pressure at all, you know, and there's no way of testing it now. On the 08s, they took away the Schroeder valve. You used to be able to at least poke and see if you get some fuel coming out of there. And, you know, if you're getting even a little bit of fuel, it should stumble to start or something. But this totally stopped. Like the pump, I guess, totally stopped. And then they got apparently NOx sensors, and they're inside the manifold. And if they detect NOx, they'll shut the spark off. You know what? Apparently they're just like microphones or something. You know, there's so much stuff. That's another reason I have a 98 Toyota Corolla. It runs. There's no electric stuff in it. Door handles you crank down by hand. There's, like very basic. And so it's survival, you gotta survive, and like I say, I worked for myself all my life. I was into rental real estate in the city. I painted cars till I couldn't do that, and worked on cars all my life. And the chemical got to me finally, from painting. Start when you're like 13, 14 years old playing with paint. And then when you went to the shops, when I started working in the shops, they wouldn't even give me a dust mask. A dust mask to put primer on and sand cars. I had to fight to get a little pad with a grate to put over my face to stop it, And sometimes you come home after hours of blowing primer on with no mask, or even with a dust mask, you still sucking up chemical. It's choking your lungs. I'd come home sometimes, like my chest would tighten right up, and I was trying to drink milk and stuff to try to, But after all those years of doing that, finally I got so allergic to the stuff that I was throwing up all the time. So I said, you know what? I can't afford this. I can't do this anymore. I can't afford to retire. So I just sold, had a couple of rentals. I sold those. In the house I was living in with the garage, I kept that, but I rented it out. I didn't rent the garage out for a while. No, never rented the garage. I didn't sell the place for a while. I just kept the rent. And then about 2 years, we decided to sell it, when we should have maybe kept it. If we would have kept it till now, or that real estate, we would have been quite a ways ahead. But we didn't really want to keep it. It was a pain. Didn't like it. Just wanted to be left alone in the bush. But now, when you hit old age, I'll be 69 pretty soon. You know what do you do for income? What do you do for income? If one of us dies, the other one's definitely going to have to sell or do something to get to do something. You can't pay even the taxes and the heat and everything you got to pay to keep the place going, and insurance and stuff and vehicle repairs. It can't be done, And then even if you sold it, and with the way things are now, the house needs some repairs, that's for sure. It's an older house. But even if you do get 250 grand for it, which all the houses in town are selling for 400,000, and even out here, 400,000, crazy. But what do you do with that? Then you go into an apartment, which I hate. I can't stand the city, like it's just a rat race. So you have a good day, and I hope you don't run into these problems. But if I took this truck in all the time, if I had to take the truck in to get it worked on all the time, you know what? It would have cost me an awful lot. And I shouldn't have gave the guy anything for this truck, tell you the truth. But it was my so-called friend, and he, and yeah, he knew about we were talking about the cam phasers, and he knew about that. He, because I seen him at the coffee shop one day, and I walked in there. He says, well, how's the truck running? I says, great, as long as you throw a lot of money at it all time, every day you throw money at it, it's okay, And he just shook his head. He says, did you ever get the chains fixed in that truck? So he knew that the timing chains and the cam phasers were bad. That's what he assumed. And he also knew about that electronic part that was another $700. Oh, and trying to get the reverse lights and stuff to work on there. There's a electronic gizmo that goes over your gear shift inside on the transmission. That's another thing. I changed trying to get the tail lights working, Finally, I had to jury rig something to get it through safety. And it worked. It worked. What the heck? As long as you put it in reverse and the lights come on, it works for safety, So anyway, you guys have a good day, and I hope I could help you diagnose something. But some of these things, they get so bad on the back that they crack right in half, the frame buckles, and it just breaks them in half. Apparently that one was all right, but what do? It didn't throw codes for that. It threw codes at first for that little sensor. And that's why I figured, okay, we'll fix it. Buy that, ship it here, fix it on. Didn't do nothing. Made no difference, And then when it totally died, people are saying, yeah, it gives the same, so many of these things give the same symptoms. You don't know what the heck you're doing, you know? And so, some of the codes don't show. So now I'm wondering, you know, maybe I should order ahead of time. I should order some cam sensors, you know, cam position sensors. You know, maybe I should order that now. But you know what? And then if it is those NOx sensors ever go inside there, you're going to pull the manifold intake off to play around with NOx sensors. I don't know. Always fun with cars. Always fun. Always fun. And if I didn't do things myself, man, I'd be walking. Can't walk from out here, though. Have a good day, guys. Okay, here I am with my old Ford truck that I've been complaining about. Now, the video that you just watched in this video, that was from last year. And we couldn't figure out what was wrong with this thing. And it's, you know, all kinds of things give trouble with it. But anyway, it's, and when I thought I had lots of fuel in the thing. And then I had bought, see, everything breaks on this thing. Now, to get the hood open, the inside latch works now. Just when I pull this, it works. It'll undo it. It'll for the main catch, but the cable broke for the inside. You can't get the hood open past there. So instead of buying another thing, I just put a cable. Just put a wire in here. I pull the wire. I pull this wire and it unlatches that thing, and then I can lift the hood. Okay. And for the winter, I take this grill out and I put the plow on it. But man, I did so much stuff on this thing. It's just unbelievable. Water pump starter, service the transmission, the stupid module on this fuel rail. I thought maybe it was that for a while. Changed that, ordered it, put it in. Still was running really, really bad. And then I couldn't figure out why. It just stopped running. And I thought, holy cow, I'm putting a lot of gas in this thing. But it was calling for a code on this thing that was running rich. So I thought, you know what? I dumped some gas into the air box there, took the thing out, and it started, ran right. So I thought, oh, it's the fuel pump then. It's got to be the fuel pump. And I already changed the regulator under the, it's up under the frame, under the tire at the back. So I ordered a fuel pump. And it was in the middle of the winter. So I cut a hole in the darn thing. Still the hole's wide open there. And I put the fuel pump in. When I went to put the fuel pump in, I found there's no gas in the tank. It was out of gas. But the fuel pump was really rotted anyway. It was junk. Anyway, and I put one caliper. They made me change for safety. And now the other caliper on the other side is locking up when it gets really hot days. This one, it'll lock up. You have to pull over and let it sit for half an hour and let it cool off. I put some oil on there. I try to stop the rust. This was all, I just patched this all. I think there's a video up there about me just patching this all up with body filler and stuff. The tires were just about wore out. But I just got 2 summers on there. I tried to buy a set of winters. Like I say, I put a water pump in there. Couldn't figure out what the heck was wrong. 2 thermostats. Figured maybe that. Flush the rad. Check everything. And right under that fan shroud, right up underneath, there was a clump of dirt. Blew that out. Overheating problems. I mean, but now the gas gauge doesn't work. The heat gauge doesn't work. I know it's not overheating because you can tell. Oh, just on and on. And I mean, yeah, they got NOx sensors. Apparently there's NOx sensors in them. If a cam sensor fails, the truck shuts down. If a NOx sensor fails, the truck shuts down. So many things can just go bad and shuts it down. So I got this old Toyota. Paid $300 for it. Well, by the time I got finished with it, I must have about maybe $3,000 into it. But it's in pretty good shape now. And you know, you have to do things. You have to do things to get by in this world, you know, and you know, I'm not making a lot of money. I don't want to change, you know, like I say, to do things to make your life better. And I, you know, I get by, and I make sure I got $1,000 spending money a month for myself. That's after, without anything, without food or insurance or, you know, that's just gas for my car and play money. So I'm doing all right. I don't need to make a lot of money, you know. And as for this old house, I mean, I keep finding stuff to fix with. Car, yeah, this car has been good. It's been good. I've been driving it for a year now. And the set of tires I picked up are a little bit bigger. I want to get them a little higher off the ground. So that's what I'm going to do. Right? Just keep working, guys. Keep working. Keep moving. Keep doing things. And my dog follows me around. Why do you follow me around all the time, Cupcake? Yeah. Mosquitoes, bugs. Okay, see you later. Chat later.